Hello YouTube, Adriana again. This particular video is about ritual constructs. I had at one point discussed ritual constructs before, and I deleted it because I had missed a few points that I wanted to make. I have made a PowerPoint presentation to go along with this, so I'm going to try to incorporate this video along with the PowerPoint presentation. So, bear with me. I'm still learning all this stuff. Basically, there are a few things you probably ought to know about the ritual constructs. First are some basics. And these are just things that I thought of that were kind of important for the practitioner to know. Each demonic force is invoked from a specific point. So when we're talking about ritual constructs, I'm generally talking about how you're setting up your ritual space. The floor. Your points are on the floor. So if each demonic force is being invoked from a specific point, basically what's happening is you're going to a certain point on the floor, and you are not invoking from the floor, but in the air above that specific point on the floor. Each specific point is placed where it is by the magician. Each point should have significance. Generally it's directional, east, west, north, south. Sometimes it is southeast, southwest, north, whatever. Sometimes it's an alchemical specification. Sometimes it's a visual image. That really is up to the magician. Each point is only significant in as much as the magician finds it significant. If you do not understand, say for example, that north is Belial on earth, there's really no point for you to use the north, east, southwest directional points when you're invoking. That is entirely up to you as a magician. And your ritual constructs change based on the work being performed and the type of energy the magician wants to raise. So, you know how they say, all different, you have to meet certain specifications for each different spirit that you invoke, or evoke for that matter. And you have to meet all of these specifications. Well, the same thing is true for you as an individual magician, as above, so below. If we change all the elements of a ritual depending on the demonic force we're invoking, we also have to change those elements for ourselves as well, because not all of us work the same way. That's just kind of how that works. The first thing that I want to go through are, well, you have your basic ritual construct, which is your elemental. Elemental ritual constructs are not meant necessarily just to invoke elements. They're made for balance. They are to balance the magician. In Daemonolatry, you don't see a lot of banishing or clearing type of rituals, and that's why. Is because we strive to promote balance during the work of magic itself, for beginners especially. And that's why most beginners, it's kind of like pounded. The basic elemental construct is pounded into your head, and that's why. But as you become more advanced, that's not going to work for you always. Sometimes you're going to need a little more energy, and different ritual constructs are going to give you that. So the first thing you want to do is learn that particular construct, and then you can move to pyramid triangle construct, which has a more erratic, chaotic energy. Basically, what you do then is you would invoke 3 demonic forces from 3 different sides in the shape of a triangle on the floor. And you can also visualize the pyramid above you. Some people do like to do that. And you can also invoke a demonic force from the center of that particular triangle. Then you have your 9 circle constructs, and that's where you invoke the 9 demonic divinities, whether you practice Goetic or Ducante, Daemonolatry. And for a 9 circle construct, you invoke 2 demons from each elemental directional point, and 1 from the center, and usually the center one is your highest demonic force, and generally for most people that's Satan. Others, it's Atem, or Amun-Ra, or whoever. When you go and you move to a triangle 9 construct, you basically invoke 3 demonic forces from each point on your triangle. And then nothing from the center, unless you're working with additional demonic forces, at which point you can do that. And you can be creative with this. You can do this to where you can use all feminine demonic forces. You can use, if you're doing something creative, you may want to use, you know, do something fire, air, and water, and just leave the earth out of it and use a triangle construct for that. So I mean, it really is up to you. You have to change your construct depending on what exactly it is you're doing, and as a magician you should kind of know that. So it's good to just kind of practice and just kind of experiment and see what works for you, and take notes too, because you'll want to go back. And then there's the Heptameron circle construct. Yes, I know I'm delving into the Grimoire magic here, and I know this will upset some magicians who practice strict Grimoire magic, but the Heptameron construct is basically a circular invocation where you don't actually go to points, you actually circle. You go around the circle while you're doing the invocation. And you would basically write the demonic names on the floor in the direction of that particular demonic force, and your outside circle. Your inside circle would be, say, your elemental demons or your matron or patron. You'd have their names on the inside. And then in the third circle, the inner circle, the one closest to you, you would have the names written of your highest demonic force. You can also use ends there too. But you basically invoke circularly. You don't stop at one particular point because you've already written down the demonic names on the floor in that directional point. So it's kind of a different thing to try. See how it works for you. And then, of course, probably most popular for a lot of people is the Goetic construct. And basically, when you're looking at a Goetic construct, that is basically where, for Daemonolatry speaking, Daemonolatry purposes, you do invoke the 4 great kings from your 4 elemental directions. The mirror, well, excuse me, I use a mirror. The triangle of art is basically situated toward the direction of the demonic force you're working with. I personally use a mirror in the triangle, and that is so I can scry and speak with the demon. Other people just use the triangle as a focal point, and they leave it, you know, right there on the floor, and it's fine. So that's, and a lot of people will write ends or invocations on the outside of that circle in the shape of the coiled snake. So you can be really creative with that too, and I think every magician should try that at least once, just because it's interesting. And you'll see what kind of works for you and what doesn't. And hopefully this video has kind of helped you along a little better to understand that there is more than one way to construct a working ritual space. How do I stop this?